First, before I start my community perspectives and my findings, I will tell you a little bit about Amar Karma, how it started. I actually never thought I will be the founder of Amar Karma, and it will be what it has become today. It's a group of over 70 volunteers, and there isn't a place in GTA where we haven't been. We've been to workplaces, we've been to religious places, we've been to schools, colleges, universities, everywhere with our message. So from pain to purpose. Years ago, I was going through my own situations and I didn't know where things were, and all I knew was wait, in those years, those times, and you're just waiting for somebody's phone call, and you think your pain is the worst pain ever, is when I came across somebody else who was on the waiting list for an organ. And I realized there is another kind of wait than my wait. And then again, I became in touch with one of my really old friends, who then told me that one of my very first friends when I came to Canada in British Columbia was on the waiting list. She did receive her organ, but it was way too late for her body to adapt to it, and is why she had passed away. And then within a course of few months, when I was going through my own so-called pain, is this organ and tissue donation, the words itself came my way, and I realized, oh, okay. So, and then I started thinking about it and then forgot. And then a few days again at my work, we had recycleme.org. They had some sort of poetry to do with organ and tissue donation. And you know what, that idea stuck to me for quite a few days. And then I did some research again. And I said, why don't we talk about organ and tissue donation, whether it's deceased or living? Back then, I didn't even know the difference. And I realized there isn't any South Asian organization or group, or there's no talk about organ and tissue donation whatsoever. At the time I was living alone, that was a shell that I was dealing with on its own. It wasn't acceptable within the family and relatives. And then I came home, and suddenly I had to talk about organ donation. What? This girl is living alone, she should be getting married, and she should be doing all kinds of things, and she's talking about organ donation. Now what more? And the idea wasn't received that well, and I'm talking about 12 years ago. I wasn't obviously doing so much that people, my family, wanted to see me do. And then I didn't stop. I spoke to some other relatives. And some of the concerns that I got was, if you talk about organ donation, I felt that the idea was sort of rejected because of the preconceived notions, beliefs that you're born without a certain organ if you even sign up. And there were these notions that I thought we just didn't want to open up and talk about. And then the occasions were religious or something. You don't talk about death. Like, what? Are you thinking I'll be dying soon? Like, why are you talking about organ donation? This girl just has to talk about things that nobody does. Anyway, and I said, you know what, maybe I should just print some information and let people know about it. And then I came up with a word, of several different words, and then the final word was Amar Karma. Amar means eternal, and Karma means your actions that stay after, even when you're gone, is how Amar Karma came into existence. And then I thought, no one was really listening to me, with those little pamphlets and some information that I had. Back then, the online registry wasn't available, and I really didn't know so much of this world. And then I came across Trillium Gift of Life, and then registration, and so on. And here we are. Now we are a nonprofit organization and been around since 12 years. And we're Canada's first South Asian organization that attempted to even speak about organ and tissue donation. And I see some of my friends who have been here and who have been with us, supporting us for so many years. And so there were some of the things that we did and how, and our findings that is what we will go over. So now we're known as Amar Karma Health and Wellness Awareness Network, because a lot of our youth that is a part of our group, they have their own stories. There are people who are recipients. There are the ones who are on waiting list, as well as there are the ones who are passionate about the cause because they have seen, they have met impacted people, or the cause has crossed their lives one way or the other. So now we believe that it takes a village to be healthy, and considering normalizing organ and tissue donation is one way of passing the karma on. Each of us have to have this thought. This is our group now in 2019, and when we launched our campaign in 2008, we were 2-3 people, and now we're so many. This was in 2011. And then in February, we decided to do this event called Give a Heart. So it was a bunch of youth on our group, and we wanted to party. We wanted to do our dancing. We wanted to do everything that we did on Valentine's Day. But we wanted to give it another perspective. So within South Asian community, this was our way to kind of collaborate with families, to bring families together. So at our first annual Give a Heart event, we brought together children to deliver speeches about eye donation, just to kind of open up the dialogue. And their parents came forward. So those are some of the families who are still attached to us. Their kids, some of them are now in grade 9 and grade 10. And so this is how we started our dialogue in a very small group. So Give a Heart is what we celebrate to close to Valentine's Day. It is giving of heart, but in a more meaningful way than we ever talked about within our group. So a lot of couples, they would sign up to be organ donors. They would talk about organ donation, donating blood, or giving away free gifts on Valentine's Day. And then children who turn 16, they sign up to become organ donors, and they come up to stage. Each year, there's a bigger group. They sign up and they claim their registration. I am an organ donor. And there are some who are very young to donate or to sign up to become donors. They proudly say, I cannot wait until I'm 16. So this is just spreading the idea in very simple manner is how we do. So here are some of these slides. In 2011, 2013, our families, groups, and each year were sold out. And by 2019, we're much larger. And so at these events, we give little awards to people who are living donors. And we bring them on, we have them talk. And the talks are 1 minute each. So we make it a challenge so that the guests, those who come to celebrate Valentine's Day, don't feel like, oh, there's no time for Bollywood or dancing. We also do that. But then that has to be 1 minute challenge. You convey your message in 1 minute, and that has to be as creative as possible. It could be a skit, it could be a storytelling, it could be any sort of visual is how we do it. And so that is about our Give a Heart, is how we penetrate into communities. And seminars, walks, booths, we have gone to seniors and all senior groups, most of them, I hope, they know Amar Karma. We wear our green shirts, is how we penetrate into community. And we've gone to restaurants, workplaces. Oh, Santa give us gift of life. That is another dialogue opener. So close to Santa Claus Parade is when we speak about people who are on the waiting list. So we ask for gift of life for them. So we call out people who can become donors for these who are on the wait list. So there are children who receive everything that they want to, but then there are the ones who can't come out of hospital, or they're hooked up to machines and they need Santa more than perhaps any of our privileged children. So that is that. I'll quickly roll by. So here are some of our volunteers, 2012 and 2018, and still with us. And I'll quickly go over this. I know I have only 1 minute left. So we've gone to Queen's Park, we've been at every parliament and have collaborated with most of the leaders at every level, and we're very, very well connected with media. And now I'll go over my last 30, 40 seconds, and I'll tell you our findings at Amar Karma and our operations. The first things that we found out was that people had a fear, preconceived notions, like I said. It's a taboo topic, whether it's living donation or deceased. It's a taboo talk still. It reminds people of death. It reminds people of being unwell. And I think there are some of us who just procrastinate. We just don't sign up, or we just don't need to talk about it, we feel. I felt that we need to continue the dialogue, involve families, build trust. There are some of us who have heard different kinds of news from all over the world. I think it's about building trust and continuing the dialogue and talking about consent a lot more than anything else. We still have miles and miles to go. I really, really appreciate your time. Thanks so much. Thank you very much.